why we use plenum box with AHU and FCU, and how to calculate the size for it. The purpose of providing plenum box at the back of AHU and FCU is number 1, to mix the fresh air and return air for the AHU and FCU. Number 2, to reduce the velocity of the air coming to the cooling coil to the design velocity, that is generally maximum 2.5 meter per second. If the velocity across the cooling coil will increase more than 2.5 meter per second, then the condensate droplet will not fall down to the condensate pan, and it will go along the air inside the room and will cause so many problems. Number 2, 8 discharge of AHU and FCU for supply air, to help the distribution of supply air in proper way with minimum pressure loss. To understand the design of plenum box at the back of AHU, let us do a sample exercise. We have an AHU having total airflow value 10,500 CFM or 4,955 liter per second. Normally, when we design the duct, we design it at 0.1 inch water gauge per 100 feet. So when we design the return air duct for this AHU at 0.1 inch water gauge per 100 feet, the size for the return air duct is 1500 by 450 millimeter, but the velocity inside the return air duct is 8.52 meter per second. But the coil for the AHU is designed for at 2.5 meter per second velocity. So we need to provide a plenum box before the cooling coil to reduce the velocity from 8.52 to 2.5 meter per second. So now we will calculate the size for the plenum box before the cooling coil. We have the total airflow 4,955 liter per second, and the maximum velocity is 2.5 meter per second, and as per our site condition we need the maximum height of the plenum box 1250 millimeter. Then the width of the plenum came to us 1700 millimeter. So we need a plenum box for this AHU of size 1700 by 1250 millimeter for an airflow 4955 liter per second to flow at a velocity of 2.5 meter per second. For FCU also you can calculate in the same way, or you can follow one thing. Cooling coil already designed at the required velocity, so for plenum box size you can follow the cooling coil size of AHU and FCU, then you don't need any calculation. To design the plenum box for supply air from AHU and FCU, we follow these dimensions from ASHRAE standard. This is AHU or FCU, and it is supply air opening for it. W is the width of the supply air opening from AHU and FCU. So the minimum width of the plenum box for supply air is 2.5 times the width of the supply air opening from the unit, and the length of the plenum box is minimum 2 times the width of the plenum box, and the distance of first outlet from the plenum box from the supply air opening of unit is minimum 2/3 of the width of the supply air opening from the FCU or HU. Equivalent length for the plenum box is 50 feet, and the equivalent length for the junction is 15 feet. When we select the grill and diffuser, to avoid the sound in the room, we select the grill and diffuser at minimum neck velocity, but the velocity inside the duct is higher than the neck velocity. So to reduce the velocity before the grill neck, we use plenum box. To design the plenum box for grill and diffuser, we make a sketch like this. Here L is the length of the grill, D is the diameter of the flexible duct supplying air to the plenum, H is the height of the grill neck plus damper height, and width is the grill neck width plus the clearance between two side grill neck and the plenum box neck. And here in the table we mention number of flexible connection. It can be one or more than one. And Ln is the insulation or lining thickness if you need the plenum box with lining or insulation inside. If you are using lining or insulation inside the plenum box, then the total width of the plenum W1 will be equal to plenum box neck width W plus 2 times the insulation or lining thickness. Neck width for the plenum we take more than the neck of the grill size, and it depends on the fixation method what you are following. If you need to use the bracket clamp that is provided by the grill manufacturer, then you can follow the recommendation by the manufacturer. If you are using the bracket clamp for installation of grill inside the plenum box, then you can select the width for the plenum box neck from the table that is provided by the grill manufacturer. But if you are using your own method for installation of the grill inside the plenum, then this clearance you can decide yourself how much clearance you need between the grill neck and the plenum box neck. This is the section of a plenum. Here you can see it is its neck, and W is the width of the plenum neck. To calculate the width for the plenum neck, first we will calculate the width of the grill neck. Let us give the name grill neck with WG. Then to install the grill inside the plenum neck, we need some clearance or gap between both sides. So let us give the name of clearance on the right C1 and clearance on the left C2. Then the width of the neck, plenum neck will be equal to W equal to grill neck width plus clearance on one side and plus 2 C2 clearance on other side.